Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Today we're focusing squarely on ACIM, Lesson 172, which is actually a review of Lessons 153 and 154. Now this is a very special review lesson because it circles back to anchor two incredibly profound concepts. Specifically, we're looking at Lesson 153, which states, "In my defenselessness my safety lies," and Lesson 154, "I am among the ministers of God." If you've been following along, you know these ideas can completely shift how you interact with the world. We're going to break down exactly what these mean, how they fit together, and how you can practically apply them today.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the unique structure of this text. Notice how the phrase, "God is but love, and therefore so am I," is repeated 3 times? It wraps entirely around our 2 core lessons. It's literally like a foundation and a roof, creating this protective sandwich around the concepts. But why format it this way? Well, the message here is meant to safeguard the lessons and constantly remind us of our true identity. Think about it. Before you can understand true defenselessness, and way before you can understand your role as a minister, you absolutely must first accept your core identity. God is but love, and therefore so are you. This is the overarching truth that makes everything else we're about to discuss even possible. When you really internalize this foundation, all that fear that constantly demands you to put up defenses, it just melts away.
So let's transition right into the first concept inside our sandwich: safety in defenselessness, and resolving the paradox of Lesson 153.
We live in a world that constantly feels threatening, right? The text notes that this ever-changing world is full of twists of fortune, brief relationships, and gifts that seem to just be lent to us, only to be snatched away later. When we feel threatened, our immediate, knee-jerk instinct is to put up a wall. So being told that dropping our guard, that in our defenselessness our safety actually lies, well, that sounds like a massive paradox to the ego. But the source text contrasts these two paradigms brilliantly. On one hand, the world's version of defense is actually a double threat. When you feel threatened, anger makes an attack seem perfectly reasonable and justified. But this just proves your own weakness. It creates a dynamic where you're caught in this exhausting, ever-tightening cycle. The text powerfully describes this as circles binding the mind in heavy bands of steel, returning only to start the whole miserable loop again: attack, defend, attack. It's draining. Defenses are the costliest price the ego exacts from you. True defenselessness, on the other hand, it isn't about being a doormat. It's actually a deep recognition of your unassailable inner strength. Defenselessness literally cannot be attacked, because it recognizes a strength so massive that attack is just seen as folly, kind of like a silly game a tired child might play. When you realize you're created unassailable, you realize you simply don't need defense.
Let's see how this builds as we jump into the second core lesson for today: Ministers of God, and activating your purpose in Lesson 154.
When you hear the word minister, you probably instantly picture an ordained priest standing at a pulpit. But throw that image out, because this isn't about an institutional title at all. It's about a practical, daily mindset that every single one of us can choose to adopt right here, right now, in our everyday lives. According to the text, a minister of God is simply a peaceful guide. That's it. It's someone whose function is to help their brothers choose peace. The source material uses this incredibly beautiful, gentle analogy of a game. It says salvation is like a game that happy children play, designed by a loving creator who just wants to replace our fearful toys with joyous games. To be a minister means you finally recognize that the game of fear is over. You waken your brother from the dark dreams, the terrifying destiny, and all those exhausting delusions of vengeance. You help others lay aside those heavy, childish toys of guilt, and you offer them light and joy instead. That is the true ministry.
Okay, moving on to the daily practice schedule: translating philosophy to action.
So we know our foundation is love, our safety is in defenselessness, and our function is to be a minister of peace. But how do we actually do this? It's super easy to agree with a philosophy on paper, but translating it to action, that's the real challenge. Thankfully, the text doesn't leave us hanging. It gives us a very specific, structured routine to help maintain this peaceful mindset throughout our chaotic days. Step 1 is your morning preparation. You're asked to give at least 5 minutes, though 10 or 15 is even better, right at the start of your day. This is when you consciously clothe yourself in defenselessness before you even face the world. Step 2 is an hourly remembrance. Every time the clock strikes a new hour, you just pause. Take a minute, or honestly even less, to remember your mission and your true strength. And hey, the text lovingly acknowledges that sometimes we're going to forget, or the busyness of the world will just close in on us. That's totally okay. When you can, just sit quietly for a minute and listen. Finally, step 3 is evening gratitude. At night, you give another 5 to 15 minutes in pure gratitude and joy for the day you've just had. So, to summarize the schedule, it's a 5 to 15-minute morning prep, quick 1-minute check-ins every hour, and a 5 to 15-minute evening gratitude session. That's the formula.
To bring this whole thing home, I want to simply and beautifully reiterate our two main lesson statements for today. 153, in my defenselessness, my safety lies, and 154, I am among the ministers of God. Take a second to really anchor these in your memory. These two thoughts, completely wrapped up in the knowledge that you are love, are your core takeaways from today's explainer. When the world is screaming at you to put on heavy armor, just remember that your true safety isn't letting it go. And when you see someone struggling with fear, remember your function is just to gently guide them back to peace.
And that leads me to end with this thought. How will you carry this peace into the world today? Are you going to drop your defenses in that stressful meeting this afternoon? Will you choose to be a minister of joy to your family tonight? I really hope this structured breakdown helped make these beautiful concepts clear and actionable for you. If you found value in this explainer, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to support your ongoing journey of learning and inner peace. We have so much more amazing stuff to uncover together. Until next time, stay focused and stay peaceful.